welcome to youtube.com/noblewoos. Today I'm going to be talking about the downfall of trading and trade centers in Woozworld. But before we start, I would love to thank 𝕼𝕬𝕬 and Ari for supporting my channel. Trade centers used to be one of the most popular categories of units. There was always one on top of most popular no matter what time of day. Dozens of Woozens would go to trade centers to offer, look for, and trade items. They were also used for other deals such as selling items or gifting for beaks. Not only that, but a lot of people would also go there just for the vibes and to meet people and hang out. They were especially popular during the 2010s and first couple years of the 2020s. And now, you never see trade centers on Most Popular anymore. If you want to find them, you have to search them up. And if you go there, it's crickets. Not a single person will be there. It will only be you in the unit. So, what happened to trade centers, or trading as a whole? Why do people not make them anymore, or go to them? In this video, I will be talking about exactly that. There are multiple reasons that trade centers declined and people slowly stopped trading as a whole over the years. First, let's talk about the removal of trading woos and beaks. In early Woozworld, you were able to trade players' woos and beaks, and at some point around 2012, Woozworld removed that feature. They said they removed it because there were a lot of scams going on, but removing that feature affected a lot of things in the game, such as trade centers and trading, obviously. Removing the option to trade woos and beaks made trading less fluid, especially for people that were using trading for complicated deals. This also pushed people more to selling and buying items, which is what people mostly do nowadays, instead of trading. Another thing is scamming through trades. Scamming through trading was such a popular and common thing. People would find little ways to trick people through the trade system, or glitches were also very common. There was one method people would use to scam through trading, and that was to trade someone an item that they really wanted, and then at the last second, before the other person confirmed, the scammer would switch the item to something else and confirm really fast before the other person could notice and unconfirm. And a lot of the times, they would pick an item that looked similar so that they wouldn't notice as fast. And that actually happened to my friend many years ago. My best friend got scammed that way. There was another scam in the trading system that required you to turn off your Wi-Fi, and then the trade would go through, except the other person wouldn't get the item that you traded. And you would get their item as well as keep the item that you traded once you turned on your Wi-Fi. Another popular scam was the key to null scam. In this scam, you would give the person the item that they wanted, and then you would remove the item and replace it with a unit key when those were a thing, and the system would glitch, and it would show the key as the item that you had put prior. It would have the picture of the item, except it would say key to null, and a lot of people surprisingly didn't notice whenever it changed, so they would accept, and instead of getting the item, they would get a key. I could go on and on, but the point is, scamming in the trading system was very common, and there were tons of glitches and ways people could do it. Trade centers were full of scammers at one point, and this really discouraged people from going there. Because if you go to a trade center and worry that you're going to be scammed, you're less likely to go there. The risk of scamming at trade centers was so bad. And moderation wasn't really able to keep up. If you were scammed, Woozworld wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't give you your items back or your beaks back. Whatever you lost was gone forever. And most, if not all of the time, the scammer wouldn't even get suspended or banned or anything. Woozworld didn't really do much about scamming, even though it was against the rules. So there wasn't really anything you could do except hope that you wouldn't be scammed. Introductions and improvements of selling systems also contributed to the downfall of trading and trade centers. The marketplace gives players a more controlled way to buy and sell items. It's much more convenient and a lot easier. You don't need to go out of your way to find people to buy your stuff. And you don't need to go out of your way to find someone selling an item that you want. Because you can just search it up on Marketplace and boom, it's right there. And people can do the same to the items that you want to sell. Maybe they won't even be specifically looking for that item. They'll just see it on their marketplace and be like, ooh, that's a good deal, let me buy that. And as the game has changed over time, instead of focusing on item for item, the game is more focused on money. People don't want to trade their items anymore, they would rather get some beaks for an expensive item. Even the game itself requires different kinds of money for mostly anything in the game, which has recently been a topic I've been talking about a lot on my channel. If the developers are going to start making their game more centered towards real money and even in-game money, then people aren't really going to want to trade items because they're going to be more focused on getting beaks or spending their beaks. People would much rather buy and sell items rather than trading and being at risk of getting scammed. The Woozworld community also has a big effect on trade centers. Older players were mostly in trade centers, and as time went on and most of them quit, trade centers kind of died down, and newer players didn't get to experience them or really find out what they were because due to the old players quitting, they weren't really popular anymore. And no one was making trade centers either, because the new incoming players didn't really know what they were. And the old players that were going to them and making them were once again quitting. The community has become less active and less interactive. People are thinking and worried about other aspects of the game other than trading, like buying and selling, which I just mentioned. And I feel like by the time Woozworld really started to focus and update on the trading system and change it up, it was too late. No one really used the feature anymore. As trade centers became less lively and less full of people and less interactive, it made people not really want to go there because what's the point? A lot of older players, such as myself, feel very nostalgic when the topic of trading and trade centers come up, because they were a big part of what made Woozworld so much fun. I messaged people around Woozworld asking them about their thoughts on the decline of trading or trade centers, and I did get a few really good responses that I will share with you guys. onyx777 said, I think the reason why trading centers in Woozworld declined was because a lot of people were getting scammed left and right from people they trusted in the trade centers. I honestly think the trade system is good now, but they should bring back trading woos and beaks so that people don't have to keep using pods to transfer currency or resort to other methods of getting it. Christina RSE said, Hey Noble, I think trade centers declined mostly because of scamming and people losing trust. A lot of the players just stopped caring about trading once newer events and items came out. Lucha said, I think they declined due to known people preferring not to make them anymore, which includes sitting in them for long periods of time. Plus, Woozworld adding rares for woos and shops ruins the economy of having rares that are barely attainable for the population. There's no guarantee of any items staying valuable like they used to be. Sarah from my Discord server said, I think it's because, personally, though maybe it's just my opinion on the side, but in my experience, I used to go to trade centers either to just hang out or spot good deals back then when I was like less than level 50. I did get a lot of good items with trading too back then, but because soon after, instead of trading, I just resorted to getting things from the marketplace or shops, mostly the marketplace. I have not traded anyone in years after I reached level 50. Another reason is that there was a lot of scamming back then, where the users would hack your items through trades, if I remember correctly, and that kind of scared me off in general. It was much easier to try and get the item from the marketplace instead of bargaining it with other woozens. It just became more tiring personally when I already had another easy option available. I don't trade anymore, I just hog. So as you guys can see, all of the reasons that I listed were very big and really affected the trading and trade centers. The removal of being able to trade woos and beaks, all the scamming, the game developers focusing more on money, which drove the in-game economy that way as well, and older players leaving or not focusing or making trade centers anymore, and then the newer players coming in and not being able to really find out what trade centers are or experience them due to the old players. I really do miss trade centers. They were such like a staple of my experience on this game. They made the game so much more fun and enjoyable, but then again, they did have their risks. And I know a lot of players feel the exact same. I really do think trade centers should be brought back just to add some more life and activity to the game again, but I don't know if it's possible. Let me know what you guys think about trading in trade centers in Woozworld. Let me know of any experiences you guys have may had. Did you guys ever get scammed in a trade center? And let me know if you have any other reasons why you think no one makes them or goes to them or trades anymore. That's all I have for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Bye bye!